Hello, comrades. Last time we left off, we were trying to convince an old woman to, solve the rights to, build a children's gym here. Uh, oh, booze. Some magnesium. Plenty of money. Sounds.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
And Egghead. Egg! Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer. You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Yeah, it's a matter of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast. I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads! Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Revachol.
Strike that! The world!
And sad
The world!
dopeheads and burnouts hold up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burners really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
The spooky kind. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse. People just wanna spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for. All right, man.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. A padlock.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
Of course. Noid, give the officer the key.
All right.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Just the tiniest chime to your left. Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks nod to you approvingly. The speed freak nods to you. A respectful nod. You proved something here.
Not long. Like a week, maybe? I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure.
Somewhere in the ruinous past that led you here, there was something called exams. You may have learned the term involuntary manslaughter there.
Yes, I do. I listen to Channel 8 all the time. I know about crime stuff, and I assure you, officer, this is not what's happening here. I'm at least 80% sure they're alive. I mean, come on. Most people aren't ever that alive. I knew you'd get it. You're one...
He nods attentively, ready to answer the question.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it. Yes. What? Yeah. Good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water. Oh. It's the one they sell at the fuel station.
It's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing for you to grab hold of.
The what now? Oh, the old Ultra.
He's like an actor, looking to the souffleur for his line.
I have a major sinus infection. Stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter. Yes, that's all Nosefed's doing. Without the noser, I'd be...
Nosefed is the shit.
Yes. What? It does, doesn't it?
Told you we have a smell problem.
He sniffs the air, then shrugs. It doesn't take a forensic scientist to guess it's drug-related. They look and act like the kind of guys who've done their fair share. However, their breathing is regular, their jaws stay put and their pupils aren't dilated. So, not under the influence right now. At least, not under the influence of stimulants. That doesn't rule out hallucinogens, benzos, some depressants. How do you know all this? He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it. Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know? I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organisation. And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericarnassian church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the Innocentic system, no? You're right, they do. The Pericarnassian church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance. Love is hardcore. Unity. Unity. Make some noise for my Insulindian posse.
You feel it, the anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters.
Oh yeah, it can. He's coming around. You're getting it. Yeah! Yakokata! The place to be!
He seems ecstatic that you share his vision of Pericarnassianism.
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew. I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise.
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving.
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do.
Glimpses? Who are these people? Secret agents? Stealth operatives?
Well, there's also the machinery. When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up.
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water.
Andre, tell him about the feeling. Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark. No, the other one. Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg. Felt like silence. Awful silence. Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church a couple of times, and we felt someone or something eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it. You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely. Like you aren't alone, you know?
It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crab man. Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up.
Crab games?
Like a crab.
It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behaviour.
Odd. Crabs are usually marine creatures, and not known for climbing walls.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. A cell was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in...
You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't...
There probably is no crab man. Don't let them draw you in with this nonsense.
Well, honestly, I can't, but I am.
Why not? Let's go with that.
I'm 70% sure they're substance users. Don't let the technology fool you. Sure. What? As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshi tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says,
Hardcore! Hardcore! Yeah!
This young man adds a capital G before the H in his yegs and args. This produces a guttural Gotvaldian accent and makes him sound more animal, more in it. Or maybe it's not Gotvaldian. Maybe it's Oranese. Probably an homage to Oranje, where Arno van Eyck is from. Judging by his name, Could you be listening to an Arno van Eyck creation right?
You know about him?
You know Van Eyck? Wow.
The skinny wraith looks at you with some disbelief.
So am I! So am I!
Oh, is that why they call you Egghead? Because...
Egghead to the mega! The K became the G! The boy became the man! The Advent?
Could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think?
So you had a talk with Andre, and now you want to discuss things with Noid. Good. It's good you talked to Andre first. Gave me time to get a reading on your sign. Can't really talk to people before you get a reading. Yeah, gotta compare. See if we can align. I suck at socialising, man. Even now, our sign synchronisation is way off. But I'll see what I can do. Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor and some sort of long-wave machinery. Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign. Or some fucked-up Samaran science sign. You know, the kind that goes head first into the supernatural. Nothing's wrong with it. You should definitely be researched. You can still do sick shit with it though. Most of it doesn't exist. But there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist. Because the moralists think it's too dangerous for the plebs. Psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, that kind of stuff. The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment. I can see that. Further sign matching would do good for us. One way to achieve sign synchronicity would be by getting us into the church.
A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Oh, hello there.
She must be Estelle, the last of the speed freaks posse. It's cold out here, but she's not wearing a hat. She must be freezing. Everyone knows drugs make you invulnerable to cold. You bet this one likes to party.
Huh?
Maybe she didn't hear you. A little louder.
So should you.
You don't have to do anything.
I don't know, some kind of a store? Maybe a general store? Look, man, fuck the hat.
Your pulse rises.
I'm sorry I said fuck the hat. I was concentrating on something else. My whole family swears and it rubbed off on me. Oh, that. You're not going to believe me. There's no point in me telling you.
She's less prone to blurt it out, crab man, than the others.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. Noid calls it a mainframe. She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still. And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall, upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He was completely silent. He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that, looking at me, right at me. I fucking turned around and walked out. End of story.
Like a crab, you say?
It was too dark. I couldn't tell exactly.
Come on, she obviously could. She already went into detail.
He looked like a banger, okay? He was all muscular and stuff. Had a mesh tank top. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that only makes...
A crab and a banger?
Yes, a banger. As in a mess gang member. I know what it sounds like, but that's what I saw. Why? Nothing. Anyway, what else? This It's a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone. A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Your mangled brain would like you to know there is a boxer called Contact Mike. No, you're welcome.
Yeah, I record stuff with it. No. This is a contact microphone. It's for recording inside solid objects. Contact mic just beats people up.
That's not fair. And an understatement.
The mic? I don't exactly know. Somehow it doesn't pick up vibrations from the air. The book said it only picks up structure-borne sound, if you like technobabble. Same place I got the recorder from, the Palaceum. Oh man, you haven't been to the Palaceum? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck.
Thinking about it really cheers her up. It's a long way from here, though.
Oh yeah, Egg's really into him. Maybe even too into him. He's a pretty intense personality. I don't know what that means.
I
I don't
grind.
know what that means either. That's cool. Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps? Okay. Recording, I guess. I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound. My boyfriend sold them. I don't know, man. Things. Just stuff you need for life.
A lie. They were probably pawned off for something suspicious.
The musicians in the Palaceum used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
She looks at the recording device. The thing she thought would fill her hours with joy and escape. It's turning out to be an empty fantasy. She feels childish. Very useless all of a sudden.
Take this, you're cold.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
It's okay.
Yeah, maybe you were right about the hat. Yeah, the boys think it could be a place, like the Palaceum or something. Stupid. It's really not gonna be a Palaceum, that's for sure. Yeah, Andre and the guys, inside the tent.
And why is that?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. No room. Didn't you see it yourself? It's mostly music stuff, like this tape recorder, but bigger. That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter. I can take the cold. Go ahead. My associates? I haven't got much to say about them. Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them. Me? I'm a silver bird. Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but... It's supposed to become, like, a club for anodic dance music, like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the Palaceum. Except that... yeah. You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments. Synthesizers and tape consoles. Microcomputers too. Anything that uses electricity. but isn't guitars. Also found sounds, stuff like that. Go ahead. Okay, bye.
You see that seagull up there? Remind you of anybody? Exactly. Think about the seagull's story. It's one of endurance and adaptation. The seaside was paradise once. They were birds of that paradise. Then their paradise became shit city. And what did they do? They became urban survivors, eating burgers out of trash cans, killing and eating pigeons. No time for that sentimental bullshit. They're hustlers, getting shit done. They're one pair of track pants away from gangsters, just like you. You have. The body remembers. Own it. Steal hot dogs. Shit in the sand. Whatever it takes to keep going.
Alright, awesome. Got me some morale.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. For Revachol ZOC, the moral intern defined junior delinquents as minors between the ages of 10 and 16 who have committed an act in violation of the law. These acts aren't called crimes as they would be for adults. Crimes committed by minors are called delinquent acts. This was part of your officer's exams. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth.
Thus, it must be made by youths. There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Voila. Looks very modern.
And fly.
The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark in the heart of the city.
I can see.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone. Almost all of it. But for the faintest of hums, you can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. It's unnerving. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything? I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. The lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense him tense up next to you. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead.
What? Yeah!
It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the other shadows. Yes, the darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely far away. It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends.
Officer, is there something up there?
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. Where did it go?
Oh, hello.
Something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it.
An
The shape
alien?
is a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently. The crab man. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be alright. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in general. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Rivershoal.
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality. Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside you. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence. And you don't even know it. Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc El Vino is wrecking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here. Never known myself to be a crab, but if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it.
To be fair, it's really like more of a spider.
I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique. I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. No, man, you gotta let that shit go. Then the mother's light touch will fill you with rapture.
Do you remember your name, sir?
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellas, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably scared of me. Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company.
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began. Oh, that's no simple question, Essa. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will. Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, way. It didn't belong to me. It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
I heard that before, Way, and I know I can't convince you on the spot. But think, when's the last time you woke up from silent communion with a hangover, regretting what you did last night?
There are drugs darker than alcohol circling your system.
She took you for a good spin, huh? Don't worry, bro. That love is but a drop compared to the ocean of the mother's love. The mother will eat all of you and never spit you out. I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I ain't from no Marietti, if that's what you're thinking. And the song I sing is silent as the mother.
Marietti is a mesque style of music and dance, commonly seen at all manner of festivities, especially weddings. It's delightfully quaint, owing to its peasant origins. The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
Police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything. Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes? No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back,
Or search through her radio computer.
Been an absolute pleasure to talk with you. Oh, hell yeah.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
A pang of guilt. The lieutenant is leaving something out.
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here. Well, Your station was involved, I hear, although I can't be sure. 3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them. I am pretty sure it was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything more about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters. Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence, Dolores Day. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. Many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Serene, modern-day Sir La Clé, also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state. A scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene la Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. The DeLorean era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. As did we all. The lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even far away Supra-Muindi, altogether 21 of the 40 Mundial nations of the time, immediately accepted Innocentic rule, even before her crowning. In a city called Advesperaskit in Vespa Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already, her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen. One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else. Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves. The man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she's often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her Theriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the Innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her.
Lieutenant Yefrater, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? She introduced us to the idea of public education, retirement, and modern diplomacy. Either way, this church, we shouldn't linger here. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
A radio computer. And it's turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
A pane of Eternite has been planted into the snow. 2 poles are holding it up. Barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind might be enough.
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk.
Hi again. So, how things going?
He's a quiet man, mostly communicates through music, and by being a master of ceremonies. Well, he's just kinda here. I don't really know how to communicate with him. Yeah, sometimes, when I stumble and find my way into his center, you have to hear a lot of hardcore to the mega first though.
The man smiles mysteriously, choosing to let the beat speak for itself.
And? What happened? Oh man! Who is he? What did you think? Really? Huh. Interesting. What's he doing in the church?
No matter. Is he gonna be a problem?
Yeah, Noid is right.
These guys will never catch him. You will never catch him. There's nothing to do.
I dunno, man. Doesn't it feel like a major hindrance to you? A spooky guy climbing around when all the guests are trying to have nice, friendly hyper time?
I guess it's not a massive problem, now that I think of it.
Yeah, it's a feature.
To dance till the morning light! Yeah! Maybe. I guess we'll figure something out. Okay, but what about the other spooker? The one in Grandma's clothes? Did you see her? But she's in there somewhere. Has to be. Have you tried investigating the machines? Anyway, do let us know if you see her. As always, we'll be right here.
What the fuck is that? Looks like some sort of leopard print tank top.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night.
This is it, the scene of the party. The fire pit, cigarettes, and empty bottles all evidence it. Looks like they were here a while, judging from all the bottles. The sunken motor carriage provided them a focal point, like a goose ice sculpture or a chocolate fountain.
Looks like it. Hey, let's keep moving, detective.
Somehow, he doesn't want to dwell on it. A striking woman leans against the...
Good afternoon, officers. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview.
It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just...
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group. Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Then you might also like their other slogan, Demand Democracy. Personally, I don't think it has the same pizzazzo as every worker, a member of the board. It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what? About anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, They are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no... And now, people are getting lynched, I hear.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyar at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the Union. The scabs. You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the Union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
If these strikebreakers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Oh, heavens, no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Why do you think so? Ha! A real man of the left. What else can I tell you about? I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the Union's files. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a Union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the fourth day to the bat's day on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it.
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer,
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, from Precinct 57.
Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant. It is a relief to see a W freighter here. The situation is precarious, to say the least. It needs a quick solution, or we will have a bloodbath on our hands. Yes, I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the Colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Kerr refuses to let me into the harbor. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
It'll be all of them. The decision is already made.
I have to say, this is not disco.
It is very far from disco. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The Debardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a Hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty. These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said, a bloodbath. Many bleak scenarios have already come true, Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. If you mean did I see him alive? Yes, but I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate.
Indeed, this matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent. Oranese. Or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us. Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook. His
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching.
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor. About a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One must be at the harbor gates, causing trouble, directing strike breakers, perhaps. You can hear the sounds of the ruckus coming from there all the time.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a border keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. This reality. What?
She's drinking tea.
Such an acute encephalopathy just doesn't seem possible. Surely you're joking.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
We're in Martinez, baby. Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets. It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol, and the bay feeds into the ocean. Yes, we're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic. Caillou. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her.
I would be happy to. What is a preposterously expensive education for, if not sharing? These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late for the big time.
The smile of a predator. No doubt what she's got in mind.
The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed. Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
This does not represent the official RCM opinion.
Don't worry. Klas Mazov shot 15 million people in the head. That was all the way over in Grad. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. About head shooting, the liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective, or the remaining gentry, the beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-la-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause.
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing
That was just changed abruptly.
now, the coalition government.
The rulers of Revachol, and also the world. These guys are strong.
This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist. Of course. Not easy to be moderate about head shooting in your line of work.
Rooty tooty, pointy shooty.
That's the way of history. The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Mazov came along and overthrew the government. It made people overthrow their governments. Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark. From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control. A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the coalition of nations. And you, of course, the citizens' militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune. Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-Islary communication. Telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies. The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to '19 was simply hell. The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. No, it was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash, an Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are. Welcome to reality, baby.
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side.
They picked the winning side. That's why they're here, and others are not. Perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I might have bet on the king and led the Pines to doom. I would have sided with the cannons. If you'd seen the calibers of the things, you might have too. Perhaps it's better I was born when I was. 10 of the 14 Indo tribes got it wrong. Feld, Kupri, Tricentennial. So I suppose I would have been in good company. Good question. What would you have done differently?
No, her first.
And I asked you. Past less detective of the citizens' militia.
Here's some wisdom, lady. Say the death thing.
I see. A 10th of humanity. The key of history is in the lock. Keep turning at any cost. Past? That's what De Briever, the leader of the communards, said, before she got a bullet in her head. Don't get me wrong. Capital is finished. But understand this. Its end won't free anyone. It will only lead to more suffering.
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM.
And what is your official position, Lieutenant?
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Understandable. They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
It's a neurological disorder caused by a lack of vitamin B in the brain. Symptoms include a retrograde amnesia. It's quite serious. You should get yourself checked out.
She conveys it in short, cold bursts, trying not to invest too deeply in the condition of this doomed detective, in case he goes down later, souring the entire portfolio.
It's not just me, Detective. All of Martinez has placed its chips on your success. I pray we've all bet wisely. Be my guest.
She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra.
It's sharp.
Dios míos, a liberal!
I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. I pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. My kind surrendered the nation to financial colonists. I can see you thought we'd gone extinct. After all, no sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You're a man of the left, no?
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
A devil, who being of great charm and guile, sneaketh into the homes of the godly. I hope we're able to continue as friends, despite my deeply felt need to infiltrate and betray the revolution, and then ensnare you to financial service. Honestly, I may have even preferred it, had the communards won. Who knows? They might really have built something better. But they didn't, because they lost. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery, I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not for my own sake, then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than let them have it. Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife. Now, shall we return to reality? A bird? A Svenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Ah! This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux. They're old. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat.
You could be wrong. But from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat in a soaring motion.
Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. Young people who dye their hair funny colors and wear old people's clothes are stupid, and their little rebellion is self-defeating. All right, what next? Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Of course, Detective.
Alright, now that's that. I think I'm gonna call it quits. It was a short stream. Let's read. Let's read Gray. He's playing some Dark Tide. Thank you all for being here. Even if I was a bit quiet. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.